Everyone, it's me, Donna. I'm making another DNA video. Um, I have taken a few different DNA tests with a few different companies. I've also uploaded my raw DNA from those results to other companies. And a few years ago, I uploaded my raw DNA to Living DNA. And they give you like your basic free report, and I'll show you what that looks like. It usually looks something like this, and it will just show you a few things. Um, and then it will say, if you want to know more, you can upgrade now, whatever. Well, I know that, or I believe that I uploaded my 23andMe and my Ancestry.com raw DNA up to this company, but I can't remember which was which. So I just now decided to unlock one of those kits on here, the raw DNA results. And since I don't know which one it is, I just go by the number that this company gives me for that particular one, and it's this one right here. So, according to this company's processing of the raw DNA from one of these companies, okay, this is what it says, okay. According to them, I'm 91.3% Great Britain. And as you can see, they offer this, which is kind of cool. It breaks down all the different parts of this Great Britain and Ireland so that you can see all the different little places and pieces. And in fact, I will zoom in on this side and show you. This is what it's saying about this area right in here. So these are all the different little pieces that it says I have from that. Okay. And then also it mentions that I have uh, DNA from the Iberian Peninsula, 4.7%, which that showed up initially in my 23andMe results, and some other results and everything. So I feel like that's a fact. Um, and then also it mentions my German right here, Germanic Europe, whatever. Um, so I know that I have that. So as far as that goes, it's true. But what it didn't include was other stuff that I know that I have. But again, that's just, this is from them processing, raw DNA from other companies. So I don't know what the results would be if I actually took a DNA kit from this company, a DNA test directly with them. I may do that in the future. And if I do, I will definitely make a video about it. But this is basically what it says. And for instance, my 23andMe, which right now my results are worse than this. They have really done some changes. They have dropped a lot, and a lot of it has to do with dropping centimorgans. Um, I mean, they can call it whatever they want to. They can play around with words in their information and everything. But the fact of the matter is, a lot of these companies, in order to save money and to save database space, they have decided to drop all information about DNA that is below a certain amount of centimorgans. In my opinion, I think 23andMe have now dropped anything below, I'd say maybe 4 or 5 centimorgans. I could be wrong, but I'm just guessing, because a lot of this stuff right here that was on my 2019 report, and my report was even better than this when I first took it in 2018. But this was updated in 2019, and this is what it turned into. Um, and they had my French and German and my Scandinavian and my broadly Northwestern European. And see, they also had my Spanish and Portuguese. And initially, it was more than this, but then in 2019, it dropped to that. And then after that, now it don't even show it, sadly. Um, Also, my Italian, now that's gone, I believe. I think they just put a lot of that in just a broadly European thing, if I'm not mistaken. So that all got clumped together in that. And then, of course, my African, it's listed in the Trace Ancestry. Um, and of course, this is just a screenshot of it, but it did still stick around even after the updates. So I'm glad for that. So at least they kept my African. Um, but I do have African ancestors, so I know that's true. Um, then also they had me with unassigned, and that got taken away with the new update. So yeah, I'm very disappointed now in my 23andMe results. Not as bad as I am with my Ancestry.com, because this is my Ancestry.com results. It's changed a little bit, but and used to it showed my German, and it showed some more stuff connected to Sweden and all that. But now all that's gone, and all that's left is Sweden. And then, of course, Ireland, and then Scotland, and then England and Northwest Europe. That's pretty much all that shows, and that's kind of sad. But in reality, I think my JED match reflects more of the truth. Now, I also took a test with Helix, and it mentioned my Oceania, which is Polynesian, and areas of the islands that are in between Hawaii and South Asia. There's groups and pieces of different islands, Micronesia, and all that stuff. So I have ancestry from that. I finally found out that, or I believe that it is connected to one of my Native American ancestors. And also, I want to point out, and I have spoken about this in other videos, I do have Native American ancestors. I have found them in my family research and put them in my family tree. So they do exist, and it does show up here in this report. Uh, this is where I took my 23andMe raw DNA and uploaded it onto GEDmatch, and this was, I can't remember what year. I don't know if this is from 2019 or whatever. And of course, GEDmatch has done a few updates themselves, but this is what it said, at least around that time frame. Uh, it also mentions my West Asian, which also has to do with my Middle Eastern, and my also I have bits and pieces of Punjabi. I don't know where that comes from, but I do have it. So I have different bits and pieces. Also, on my heritage, it also brings up my Jewish ancestry, which also shows up in a few other DNA reports. So I know I have that. So I believe that's probably all tangled up in my West Asian. Also, it's got me with Northeast Europe. Um, and then, of course, my Native American and my Oceania. And then my South Asian, I have little pieces of that. I have little pieces of Southeast Asian. I have also Southwestern Europe. I have Southwest Asia, and which I think that is what where my Punjabi and all that, and then also West African. So all that showed up in this, and I just feel like this is more of the truth for me. So yeah, but all in all, my living DNA results weren't really that bad. Uh, Even this was better than my Ancestry.com, which is pretty bad that I keep saying that. Like, all the other tests that I have taken have all been better than my Ancestry.com, and To me, that is, that's saying something. Uh, and my advice to companies like Ancestry.com is, how about, I mean, I understand that, yeah, most companies want to save money because it's all about saving money and all that, and database space and all that. Well, in order to compensate for that, how about just charging a small fee, nothing big, but maybe charge a small fee and go back and include those smaller pieces? Because, as I've mentioned before in other videos, uh, from the information I got from Ancestry.com, they drop off stuff that's below 7 or 8 centimorgans. And when you do that, man, you're excluding a lot. And I don't agree with that. Like, go back and pick that back up and include it. And if you have to charge a small fee to open that up, that's fine. I will gladly pay that as long as it's not too much. Um, but I think it would be neat, just have things set up to where, like, you've got your modern day ancestry, okay, and then have another feature that says deep ancestry, excuse me, or ancient ancestry or whatever, and let people unlock that and show what's there. Because, see, with ancestry.com, they have their tree. You can build a big huge tree. Well, that would wonderfully go along with that, especially if you could get past your fifth and sixth great grandparents and you can just keep on going backwards in time. If they would unlock that, that would help a lot of people, because a lot of people have way more ancient, different DNA in them than they ever thought of. Like, a lot of people are not 100% British and Irish, or 100% Italian, or 100% African, or whatever, if the truth be told. I mean, although there are some out there, or, there's quite a bit who are, but then there's many of us who aren't. We have so much more. And we have all these ancestors. And that way it won't be such a shock or surprise when you stumble upon an ancestor from Peru, or, someplace unexpected. It would just be very helpful, I think, a more useful tool to have that all on Ancestry, instead of people having to go take different kinds of DNA tests just to get the truth. I mean, that's pretty bad that people have to do that now, and they shouldn't. Why not have that available in one place, and to where people will have more confidence in you, and and it would just be more interesting. It would just make things a lot more fun, and there's so much more you could find out about yourself. And what would be cool is if they would open up their through lines feature even more, because as of right now, my through lines only goes to like the fifth great grandparent. So, in other words, when I do my DNA matchups with my tree and using the DNA, when I match up to my cousins and everything, it only matches us up to the fifth great grandparent. Okay. What would be neat is if they would have a feature that, even if you have to pay a little extra, to where it would unlock it on further back. And that way you can get more and more cousins linking you up to your sixth and seventh and eighth great grandparent. That way you know that, hey, yes, I'm on the right track. Yes, this is my ancestor. It will help people get closer to the truth than to have to keep playing the guessing game and all that. Because I recently ran into a big jumbo mess with my tree, and I ended up with the wrong ancestor, and I had to go back and redo the whole thing and all that. And it would just be so much more helpful if it would go further back, to where if you have at least a few ancestors linking you up to like your seventh great grandparent, you'd be like, okay, yes, this has got to be it. It would just be so much more helpful, even though I know that's not 100%, but at least it would be a big help. And I don't know, there it may be available for some people, but it's not for me. Like as of right now, it only goes back to the fifth great grandparent. So I just feel like that would be a huge help. Just go ahead and unlock that stuff, and if you have to charge a little extra, then do what you got to do. But give us more and make things more interesting to where we'll come back and be, stay on your site and do our research and just all that stuff. So, but anyway, I'm going to shut up and get off of here. But anyway, I hope this was helpful to some of you guys. So just let me know what you think, and if you've done a test with this company, or if you've uploaded your raw DNA to this company and got your results, uh, feel free to mention that in the comments, and I'll be happy to watch your video or whatever. But anyway, we'll talk to you guys later. Bye.